here's what happened. It got very, very pricey. You have to remember they have the 28% law. There are some places here where, everything's cash, but in general, Santo Domingo, Santiago, Punta Cana, almost every place you go to, they're going to add 28%. So if you're getting a 300 peso beer, and now there's 28% on top of that, and you have a couple of beers, it's normal. Like, a friend of mine that used to work with me, she has her husband and her child, and she said, Mario, we go to the beach club here, and we're spending $250 for the day, $250 just hanging out. And that doesn't include dinner, right? You get a bottle of wine, you get a couple of snacks, you got the kids.
So is with that price point, is that driving businesses back up here, developers back up here?
I don't, because, so here's the thing. Punta Cana, the way it was built by resorts. That's what it was. My first time there was like 2010.
You know what? For the viewership who's watching, there was nothing in Punta Cana. Nothing at all. It was all open land. So they were able to come in and design exactly how they wanted it, and they had the space to grow and put in all the businesses you talked about, all the big supermarkets, the IKEAs. Up here, you had towns that they were building amongst. So we know when you have a clean slate, it's going to get built exactly for the tourist market.
It was a swamp.
So that's the difference between the South Coast and the North Coast. We still have barrios that are Dominican barrios that have their own little personality, which is what I love about the North Coast. That's what I think makes the North Coast special.
Because it was integrated, and you have the surf towns here, and it was kind of integrated with the people. Punta Cana itself, it was called Punta Borracho, Borracha, something like that. It was like Drunkard's Point, basically, right? And the Rainieris bought it, and it took them 50-plus years to really build it into what it is today. Now, around that, they built Bávaro, and they built Capcana, and Capcana has like 20-something years. And they built all these different places. And what happened is they built resorts. It was always made to be resorts. So that's why the beach access is so limited. Okay, now fast forward to 2018-19, when all of a sudden they start sparking up the building. And then once the pandemic, that May, June, when they opened up the airports, everybody in Canada, the United States, even Europe, was like, we need to get to the Caribbean. We want beach. It was very
same
we went through a lot of traumatic experience. And all over the Dominican Republic, I think, probably Mexico as well, on their end of it there, with the West Coasters, everybody saw a boom. Wherever it was warm and there were beaches, they saw a boom. But the original design, my first time in Punta Cana was like 2010 or something like that at a resort. And I remember going out of the resort to get my orange, back then it was orange, to get my chip in my phone. And I had been used to Santiago and coming here to the beach. And I was like, there's nothing here. What made Punta Cana was the highway. So I got there, and I remember going with an ex-girlfriend of mine from Santo Domingo, and the highway had just been built, and we went with her family to Punta Cana to stay at a resort. Before that, it was just resorts. White Sands was there, a couple of little condos or whatever, but it was not very residential. A lot of the expats lived in Verón, in in Pueblo Bávaro, which is like a barrio in the back over there, right? They didn't live on the old road to Bayaibe, to all that kind of stuff. They didn't, They didn't live like right by the beach or anything like that. Cocotal was the first golf community that was built there where that was like, wow, where the rich people went into. So it was never designed as a residential area, and that's what happens. I was like, I'm living in a beach town, but I barely ever go to the beach. The other thing that we have to be very open about is that what happened there is with this building. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of units. I'm trying to to understand it. Just in one project alone, like Vista Cana, there's like over 70 projects being built there, just to understand the scope. Then you have everything being built on the highway, 101 projects on the highway. You have all the buildings being built in Corrales, Cortecito, White Sands, Capcana, all this building that's going on. What does that do? It gives you Santo Domingo traffic, right?
Yep.
I remember I lived in Vista Cana. My office is right downtown by Cocobongo. I was like, okay, the gym closes at 2. Body shop was there. Gym closes at 2. I left my house at 11:45. I was I'm going to leave the car by 12. 12:15, I'm in the gym. I work out an hour and 45 minutes, and when they close up, I walk down and get my car after they wash it. I couldn't get there. I got stuck right at the light over there. It was already hitting like 1 o'clock. I was like, I'm going to just go to Free Use, do some stuff, and come back. I couldn't get, and I'm looking at right downtown. I can't get there. You have the transport. You have to understand they're building 1,000,001 resorts as well. Yep. We're looking at the residential part of it, but they're building tons of resorts. And that highway going all the way up to Miches is being built with resorts, all those resorts. So what do you have? Insane white cars, like those little vans that transports, and they're flying up and down the highway. You have the gravel trucks of all the building that's going on there. So you have this it's like a city being built, right?
So it's Punta Cana too.
That's all it is there.
Yep.
But in Punta Cana itself, the insane amount of traffic, the big yellow buses that drive the Haitians, it's just crazy.
How
There's a lot of places to rent in Sosua. If you're looking for peaceful, affordable, and tranquil, look at Casa de Compai, Sosua's hidden gem. When you're ready to reserve at Casa de Compai, my contact information is in the description down below.
Let's take it to, all right, we know what Punta Cana was. We know what it is now. I think things, as the economy is getting worse in the States, people think it's getting better. I disagree. I think with all the layoffs, I think with the interest rates, people unable to sell their houses. When Canadians can't sell their houses and Americans can't sell their houses, they're not buying in the Caribbean. You know, they need that equity, that cash,
Correct,
to buy. I see the buyers not buying, but I see the investors coming down, and I think that's the next big drive that's going to take place, especially here on the North Coast, until the buyers are able to sell their houses and then come back here.
investors are looking to invest because the price keeps going up, the building costs keep going up. So anything that's going to be built in the future is going to cost more money than it costs today. So if you're buying prime, and that's a very good thing that people need to understand when you're buying prime, because if you buy something in La Loma de, whatever, right? You got to understand that's a lifestyle purchase. You might not find a buyer for another year or two that wants the same thing that you want to buy, right? They're investing in prime stuff. Another thing I'm seeing is anyone who is either retiring, right? Because that's it. They're retired. They want to get out of the race. They're looking to leave, right?
Yep.
The other people that are looking to leave is anyone that can work remotely. So this is who it is: investors, people that are retiring, and people that can work remotely. They're trying to get out. They're looking at places. They want the beach. They want the sun. They want a change of lifestyle, and that's the people that you're starting to see. What I've noticed, I was having this conversation with my team on Tuesday at the meeting. We're also starting to see a lot more families. Some of the people that work with me in my office have kids, and it's like, they're like, man, I'm going to all these birthday parties, and I'm seeing all these new families everywhere, and that's what's happening. We're seeing a lot of families, and having the conversation with my coworker, they're looking, which was kind of threw me a little off, right? I said, oh, so the families are coming and they're looking for places like with gated complexes and everything. She goes, no, they're looking for no HOA. They don't want rules. They don't want people on top of them. They just want to have their nice house, and they want to just do what they have to do. And that's a shift that we're seeing as well.
We're seeing that shift down here, especially in communities like what I used to talk negative about all the time, La Mulata. La Mulata is having a really strong rebirth. Everybody's going in, buying up all the old villas, they're fixing them up, and it's all because, not all because of, but that international school is really helping, because everybody, like you said, all the families are coming down, and that's where they're going.
And that's what I think also the cleanup, that they're doing here or trying to do or whatever they've done, I think that it definitely helps because, it's a process, right? I think, you have some of these people on the internet, they're like, where are the families? Where are the families? Like, they were not being held in the airport, and the minute that they did the thing, they let them loose, like, whee, and they stampeded out, right? It's a process. The first process is make it a little bit more family and couple friendly. Because, I think people don't realize it's not just family friendly. Everybody uses that, where are the families? But also couple friendly. I lived here, I was married here before, and I felt uncomfortable going out at night because the girls were grabbing me, they were on top of me, they disrespecting my wife at that time right in front of me. And, they touch you and they do all these things. So all these changers, they make it more couple friendly, more group friendly. And you're here, right? And you come in here at night, you see groups, like a bunch of couples that came down from Canada or whatever, they're hanging out together, they're going to eat, they're going to these places. So it's a transition period. And in my opinion, Sosua has great bones. I talk about this. When I'm looking at the way you loop around Crisante, you do all of this stuff. It has great bones. It has a lot of potential to have some really cool restaurants come in, really cool bars to come in here, and really work off the two great beaches that they have. I mean, I got Playa Alicia picture of me tattooed on my stomach. People don't know that, but yeah, it's beautiful here.
I think I've seen the cycles of Sosua. I've been doing business down here since 2009 or 2010. I bought at the last downturn. That's when I came in and started investing, and then 2024 is when I bought what became Casa de Compai. So I see this is the exact same point in time. And I'm watching guys come in, picking up the villas, picking up the condos that people have to unload. And I'm noticing they're doing it with their wives. And there's a different market that's coming in. And it's exactly like you just said. It's the retirement small one-bedroom condo for a young couple. And they're in their 40s. So it's not the single guy party town, which it will always be. And I think that's where people really miss the point. It will always be here, but it doesn't need to be the first thing you see.
Right, smack you right in the face when you go there.
You know, and I say it all the time. The Europeans don't need a video on how to hire a hooker, then they don't do one bragging about it. You know, because prostitution was even more intense 10 years ago.
I remember, I was here.
You know, remember when it took you, it used to take us a half an hour to go from where Mags is to small Plagero, because that Pedro was so packed with people, you couldn't walk.
Well, a good point is what's changed, and the cleanup. People have to understand, this cleanup is not just unique to Sosua. I'm seeing it in Medellin right now. They're doing it there as well. And here's the issue. If a town, an area has had nightlife, right, that kind of nightlife, okay, it's always going to be there, whether it's in the shadows, to the side, or whatever. What changed was the internet. What changed was the influencers. 10 years ago, we had no influencers. We didn't have any of this. So when these people come in and they're throwing it in the government's face, they're throwing, hey, guys, look at my 5 tips on how to pick up a hooker on Pedro Quisante. How much does a hooker cost? How much do you pay for your hooker? I pay this much for my hooker. When you're putting these things online, you're bringing heat. You know, it's like a drug dealer saying, hi, guys, here's my drug spot right at 1414 Mockingbird Lane. I have the best offers. I've got this. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
keep private personal and personal private. I say it at the end of every video.
Like, what do they think was going to happen?
It's, and the whole, the whole, it's not as, I don't want to say accepted. No, it's not as accepted as it used to be. And we're not trying to come down on the guys that are here for the pay-for-play market. You know, they have an important role to play in Sosua. Everybody makes a lot of money off them, and I think the pay-for-play market is going to get better down here as it goes forward, because it's not going to be as in your face. The government is really coming down hard on it. They're going to do what they want to do, regardless of what any gringo says, and that's what a lot of people really need to understand. They don't care what we think, how we feel, or what we want. Drop your money, spend your money, invest it, and mind your own business.
If you can't vote, and again, I visit 2 mostly, but I'm in 3 countries in Latin America, here, Panama, and Colombia, right? So my perspective is seeing similar or the same things in different parts of Latin America, right? And that's what it is. You cannot vote. You have no say-so. You're here to either like it or not, and that's it. You know, these people crying and online and doing all this, no one is listening to you. If you're not part of the voting public, you have no say-so. The only way you can vote is whether you spend your money or not. And when the money goes down, people listen. When the money goes up, people also listen. What I don't like, what I see sometimes online, right? Some of these older guys, not older, but like the old school guys that were like what it was before, where they're like, well, now that the hookers are gone, the whole place is going to just bankrupt in there. The beaches are not nice. Oh, come on. You were coming here for the girls on the beaches before. Now the beach is not nice? Stop it. You're trying to tell me Alicia and Sosua Bay are not nice beaches now because you can't do what you did before? Stop it. Now you're being, it's like a little baby. I don't like chocolate ice cream anymore. Why? Because I don't have chocolate ice cream anymore? Because I only have vanilla? Now you don't like it?
It's because of all the investments coming in here. And it's making people nervous that they're going to be able to lose what they've come to love over an extended period of time, because they're getting priced out of the market. That's what's driving the anger here, is people not being able to get that $500 to $600 monthly rental anymore, not being able to get a cheap beer that they're used to. Heck, we remember buying a grande for what, 70 pesos? 90 pesos for a jumbo?
I remember when it went to 110, I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
right.
We were like, the world's ending. Just like people are saying now. But, you know, that's what I think is driving the anger. And
it's inevitable. Listen.
Hello.
Here's the thing, right? Let's just look on a macro level, right? Mm-hmm. Where in the world, with the exception of towns that went full crime, factories closed down, right? Like you have places like Detroit or whatever, like places where like something happened where everything crashed, right? and now there's crime, there's no business, there's no money, there's nothing to do, right? Excluding those places, where in the world over the last 20 years or 15 years have rents not gone up, property values not gone up, and cost of living not gone up?
Nowhere.
So why would someone logically expect this place to be frozen in time? Okay, I mean, I'm not a fan of things going up. No, I don't think anybody is. But we have to deal with real life, right? And what happens is when the demographic changes, when people invest. Now, and again, and you see people online, they're like, never buy. Look, if you're not sure where you want to be, right, don't buy 100%, because there's nothing wrong than getting stuck in a place. Like, let's say you buy in Punta Cana and you want to be here. You buy here, you find out you want to be in Bayahibe. Wow, you're going to feel miserable now. You're trying to offload. It's like me trying to get rid of my car now because I decided I want to change it.
God, it's so easy to get in a property down here. It's so hard to get out.
And I'll explain that to you because there are variables to that, in my opinion, based on my experience, right? But the one thing I do recommend to people is if you have decided this is what it is, like you decided, right? So what did you do? You bought your business, you bought your house, you bought your apartments, you bought whatever, everything that you have here. Now you're not priced out. The price of buying something where you're not 100% sure you're going to be is very high. But also the price of staying in a place you love that you want to be in and not buying means you are going to be priced out, especially if you're a person that's on a fixed income. Because if you're retired right now with $4,000 a month, I'm going to tell you right now, in 5 years, that $4,000 a month is going to feel like 25, right? So if you didn't buy and now are living for zero rent and your car's paid off, your cost of living is going to go up 5% every single year. And what's going to end up happening in 10 years, you lost 50% of your income. And now you're going to be one of those guys crying. So those are the two variables that I say, because there's a lifestyle buy. I think everybody's always looking, ROI, and in the East, everything's about ROI and return and everything. But people forget about cost, about lifestyle. Right? There's a price you put on your lifestyle. If you want to be here and you say, look, man, I like it and I want to be in Hispaniola. I want to be in in Casa Linda. I want to be in Encuentro. I want to be in Kite Beach because I'm a kiter and this is what I want to do for my life. Then that makes sense because you're not only buying an investment, but you're buying into your lifestyle and you'll never be priced out. Think about this as an example, right? Let's say you like kiteboarding, you like all that kind of stuff, and you bought an apartment on Kite Beach 5 years ago, right?
Woo! You made money.
When people were telling you don't buy, right?
Yep.
But they knew what they wanted for their lifestyle, right? Those prices are going up, and that's a finite amount. There's a big part that you can't build because of the code and everything, right? So you've got a prime property on the beach in a finite area that's only going to keep going up because it was a lifestyle for you. The same thing, if you want to be in La Mulata and you want a house that's going to be your own compound and you're going to have this kind of pool and 5 bedrooms and you're going to do all this stuff, right? You're buying for your lifestyle. Now, understand that if you're in the hills, you're going to have a much harder time reselling your property than if you're on the beach. That's natural. It's a bigger pool of people that are looking for first line, second line. The further you go out, right, the less people are usually, depending, there's variables, right, depending on what it is. But you have to understand between a lifestyle buy and pure ROI all the time.
An investment buy.
Exactly. If you bought a 1-bedroom, right, and you bought it for, when I used to own an apartment here, I bought it for $50,000. $55,000 is going for $110 right now, right? So whoever bought it at $55,000 is chilling right now at the pool doing this, and they don't care about the cost of increase of here, right? They can manage it. The guy now that's coming in has to pay double. It's like, damn, I didn't buy back then. So people have to understand what they're buying and why they're buying these properties. But the prices are going to keep going up. And I say this all the time. I said, look, Sosua Cabareteria in Puerto Plata, it's the last of the Mohicans. This is the last of the little 200 peso beer here, the little thing here on the beach or whatever. I'm enjoying my 400 peso, whatever, 381 peso breakfast at Waterfront. It just went up 28% from 2 months ago, right? Even though it was a small increment when you really look at the number. I work on percentages, so I saw a 28% increase. I know that breakfast is going to cost me probably $15 in the next 2-3 years.
Well, when I came down here in 2010 shopping, 2009, 2010, a lot of the old guys were saying, man, don't buy, it's too expensive, you missed it, who would buy it at $75,000? What I believe happens down here, and from my experience, and you're going to see the prices flatline. You're going to see them flatline for a while until the next run up when the economy starts booming again. Then everybody's going to be increasing their prices. I sold my first condo here in 2020 when I bought my villa in Hispaniola. I sold it for $75,000. I bought it for $75,000. But I rented the snot out of it. I used it. I got $75,000 out of rent over 10 years out of that condo. Not to mention I used it 3 times a year for a month a shot. So that's what a lot of people don't take into it. There's a value in not having to rent someplace else and using your own place. Now, same thing when I'm selling my villa selling my villa in Hispaniola. I'm buying in La Mulata, a buddy's villa in La Mulata. My property doubled in price from January 2020 to now. Even though I'm selling at a lower amount than other people are, I still made a boatload of money. So when people are saying, you missed the boat, it depends on what you're doing with it. If you plan to hold it, you're going to be okay, in my opinion. If you think you're going to come down here and start flipping, I'm going to take an apartment in this condo complex, I'm going to cut it in half, I'm going to make 2 smaller size rentals. No, that does not work here. The rental market's changing drastically. People want more bang for the buck, and they don't want to pay more.